there was this person who totally was not, by any stretch of the means, up to what I thought she should be. And there was Thomas Keating telling me that she was the one that had it. And I was like, wow. How do you do that? And that's when she taught me welcoming. Because it was trust yourself. Well, I didn't have a self to trust. That was a really hard thing for me. How do you trust yourself? Who is myself? That question would send me off for years, just spinning around. I'm in real trouble now, God. And the only thing I had was the prayer. So I kept coming back to the prayer. So one of the times I was talking to Father Thomas, poor man, and I said, is it egotistical? Is it just the false self that wants to be a saint? Now, as I tell you, at that time, I was raised Roman Catholic. I went to convent schools. I was educated by the Jesuits in university. I was president of parish council at the cathedral where I was from. I was a Eucharistic minister and lectern. I was considered probably the most intellectual Catholic of my peer group. And Thomas Keating said to me, Mary, he gave me something, and then he looked at me straight in the eye, and if you've seen Thomas's blue eyes, yeah. Why are you setting your sights so low when divine union is your birthright? I just sat there stunned. You know, folks, I never heard that. I'd never, ever heard that divine union was my birthright, and it's your birthright. I didn't know that. It sounded much more interesting than sainthood, too. It did. I didn't know what it meant, but somehow it connected more. It wasn't out there. It was kind of in here. Like, you mean me? Everybody? The invitation is here? And it was like, yeah, you don't have to try to be something else. What you're asked to do, this is why I love our practices and why centering prayer. All you're asked to do is to say yes to God working and living your life. And how we do that is we show up faithfully to the chair with our centering prayer. I was like, I think I could do that. Okay. That seemed relatively doable. Okay, you tell me, keep showing up to that chair, come hell or high water. Okay, I can do that. And then these other practices were given as ways to continue to go deeper. So whenever it gets really crazy, what I go back to is all we have to do, we're the healees, we're not the healers. All I have to do is keep claiming the fact I need healing, but I want it. That's the yes. I want it. What's my goal in life? It's to say yes, fully. To say yes to divine union, whatever that means, kicking and screaming and everything else. So if I keep it real simple like that, that's what these practices are all at the heart of. So I don't have to judge myself when I see a whole new layer arise that I never saw before. I was just at a meeting. You know what? I am a pain in the butt in a meeting. All these contemplatives wanting to be quiet. I want an agenda, and I want to know what the answer is, and I want to be out of here. I'm just like, psh, psh, psh. And I'm like, wow, you're really aggressive. I'm like, okay, sit back. Next day, same thing. And I was like, wow, this is a whole piece of myself that I've seen before, but I was like, God, why do I have to go to contemplative meetings? I liked it in the world. Give me a, quote unquote, worldly thing to do. But no, how do you merge the two when there is no duality and you just be you? And let God do with us what needs to be done. Because what I found out is Mary doesn't even have to figure out what needs to be done because she can't. What I thought, thank God, what I thought at 21 or 31 or 41 I needed would have killed me if I'd gotten it. I know that now. I am much happier when I let God manifest for me what needs to be done. And I keep to my side, which is working on keeping Mary showing up. So tomorrow, what our work is going to be, which is fun work, it's like play work, it's going to be to really come into ourselves and to experience and to pray with what we're experiencing right now in the moment. Very simply and very gently. Welcoming in my own practice has become very wordless. But in teaching it and in the movement of it, we're going to use a lot of words. So does anybody watch Dancing with the Stars? Or have a sense? Okay. I put it this way. If I ever danced, which I don't, but if I did, I'd be like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But when I see somebody twirling around, it doesn't even look like that it ever started with 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Do you know what I mean? And I'm amazed that the judges can pick up things. I don't even watch the show, but that they know things that aren't visible to my eyes. But at some point, they did, I'm sure, those classes where a teacher said, no, do this and do that. So when we teach this prayer tomorrow or share it, I'm going to be using a lot of words, but I invite you into the movement of the Spirit as it simplifies in your life, and not to get hung up on the words. I read a beautiful thing. It was a quote from Eckhart Tolle, who I just love. But he said, you can read about it, you can talk about it, but until you've had the experience of surrender, this divine union stuff makes no sense. So this isn't about an intellectual, you don't have to worry about notes or anything up here. It's to experience this experientially. And once you get that aha, the Spirit will teach you everything about this practice. So questions on comments on what you signed up for on this Super Bowl weekend? Different areas, different parts of the country have different development of different practices. So in some areas it's very well known. In other areas it isn't. Sometimes it's taught very soon after. You're lucky to be in Florida. You have a great chapter here with all that's gone on in the years. You're in the hotbed. I mean, this is a very blessed area as far as that. I'll let you know. We're also do it, there is an online, and you'll hear about this. There's online resources. There's going to be a new online course on welcoming in October. And there have been that. So we're doing the best we can to get the word out there. But it's not about what's coming just from up here at all. But it's what you may share that resonates with someone. The whole thrust of centering prayer that really is developed, and it's not about the perfection, but you know that call when that chair is just calling and you're just like, I don't want to today. Yeah. But think of it, that's what I love about relationship. I always go back to, especially those of you who are parents, when the little one was squeaking in the middle of the night and you've been up 3 times already, did you want to get up again? But you did. And that's just because of that love. And that's what I think that God does with us. It's like, it's okay. There's nothing going to end, but it's just like, we're miserable most of the time. And God's like, why don't you just come and spend a little time with me? No, I'm miserable over here, but I got a lot to do. So that's part of the dance. And the gift, here's what I see as the gift, is you see it. Do you know how many people never know that? So I don't judge myself, and that's where the great humor comes in. You know Robert Frost's great line, God, forgive thy many little jokes on thee, and I'll forgive thy big one on me. So lighten up and just say, it's okay, won't be long now. I'm busy. You want to come with me for a cup of coffee? You know what I mean? So if we get playful and engaged, what that does is it keeps us in relationship. Instead of that old pattern of we just kind of try to deny it. No, I just got busy. Or, oh, I forgot. I didn't forget. I knew darn well I wasn't doing it. But we're getting more honest. It's about life and your daily circumstances. Remember this. Wonderful little line. The first half was take and accept yourself just as you are. But the second half is where you are. We don't have to fight our life circumstance. If your life is busy or if you have people in it and you can't sit 4 times a day, that's okay. It's not about being other than you are. It's about being faithful in the realities of your daily life. All the greats have always said that. If your prayer doesn't fit into your life, there's something wrong with your prayer, not your life. Start with that and see where it goes. Now, I have found that there is always time for what I prioritize. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Okay. If you want something, are you going to get it in there?
Yes.
So there has always been the time for the prayer. Now, there have been times where I've said, God, how is it going to work? Help me figure this out because I don't see it. But if I've been willing, it's always been able to be there. But not at the ability, for those of you that have caretaking or relationships, you know, you're not meant to say, excuse me. Yeah, excuse me, bye. Yeah, sorry. You know, come back tomorrow. You're an intrusion. It's never meant to be that. Father John.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think this is all kind of important because there's that one thing where we're talking about your prayer practice and starting off with, you know, beginning your morning with centering prayer, and then how important Father Thomas talks about and others about having a second session. But then you really want it to be a graceful practice, otherwise it ends up becoming law, and then you lose grace and whatnot. And so, Mary, I made a little note here. You're referring to Father Thomas, and he was saying that it's not as effective as it could be. And so then the whole point of welcoming prayer is that it's the second engine to keep the jet off the ground, which then seems to me, and what I'm hoping for, is that becomes another part of the whole walk of grace for those of us that are looking for something during the day.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. That's the segue. Yes.
Yeah. I'm very hopeful then.
You are so helpful. You are so helpful.
Oh, well, I was saying I was hopeful.
You're hopeful. You're hopeful and helpful. See you tomorrow.